Welcome to the 2020 celebration of Remembrance and Hope, sponsored by Memorial Funeral Home. I'm glad that you've joined us. I'm the Reverend Lark DeHelen, and the Reverend Aaron Goodman will start us off.
I'd like to invite you to take a moment and prepare yourself and the space around you for this sacred time. Silencing any electronic devices, perhaps adjusting the temperature, the lighting, maybe grabbing a blanket. Taking a nice, gentle, centering breath. Allowing the outside world to fade into the background. If you have a candle, now is the time to light it. And again, taking a nice, gentle, centering breath. With open hearts, let us begin our service in the spirit of love and peace.
We will light the beacons of life. And as we light these beacons, I'm going to be introducing those who are participating in the service. The first beacon of memory will be lit by Kurt Edenbach, the owner of Memorial Funeral Home. This is the beacon of memory, precious memories that keep our loved ones alive in our hearts and our lives. Memories of laughter, of projects completed or not, of meals shared, of conversations filled with laughter or even anger. Our loved ones live on through us as we share our memories of them. One of our celebrant leaders, the Reverend Gregory Windsor, will light the beacon of gratitude. Gratitude for those precious memories. Gratitude for what we had, even as we grieve its loss. Gratitude is like a match flickering in the darkness. In that dark tunnel of our grief, we can look for gratitude. We can be grateful for those who see us through, those who do not weary of our tears or our sorrow. Reverend Aaron Goodman will light the beacon of connection. It is through gratitude that we find we are connected. And though our loss has ripped a gap in the web of our connection, still we are connected to our family and friends who are grieving this loss also, to others across this country and this world who also grieve at this moment. Most of all, we are still connected to those who love us. Reverend Shelley Dungan will light the beacon of love. Love is the connection. Indeed, we cannot escape love. In those great moments of loneliness, when we fall into that darkness of isolation, it is love that can pull us out. Not simply the love that we receive, but the love that we are still able to give. We can love a memory, a tiny flower, a beautiful sunrise, a stranger. Our ability to love creates hope. Celebrant leader Barbara Murray will light the beacon of hope. Hope beckons us out of the darkness During the mighty storms of great grief, it can show up as the roving light at the top of the lighthouse, barely making its way through that thick darkness. Perhaps we cannot see it at this moment, but it can come back round, and we can catch sight of it. We can catch sight of it again. Hope can keep us from crashing upon the rocks of desperation and remind us again of our cherished memories, our precious connections, and our gratitude for love in our lives. My hope is that you may catch that glimmer of hope for you during the minutes to come. Be blessed.
It was the English author and screenwriter Mark Gatiss who wrote, "All lives end, all hearts are broken." That feels like such an empty phrase. Unfortunately, we all can relate to its truth. All lives do end, and all hearts are then broken. The grief we experience is very real. Our pain is also very real. The pain of having to learn the hardest lesson that life teaches us, how to go on living when those we love leave us. Yet, we try to remember that only a part of our loved one is gone from us. What they were to us, all our memories, both public and private, are still with us. Now we are left to struggle with that transition from a relationship of physical presence to a relationship of memory. How we cope with the emptiness and pain as we struggle through the great waves of grief. We all experience grief and mourn loss in different ways. Whatever way we choose to mourn is the right way for us. In this space, this evening, there are no room for critics of grief. We are all fellow travelers, seeking a safe haven from the emotional storm that tosses our soul. How appropriate then is the symbol of the lighthouse, a beacon of safety, a beacon of guidance, and a beacon of hope. It brings us to a place where we will be sheltered and understood, a place where we can find rest for our souls.
Henry David Thoreau once said, "There is no remedy for love but to love more." And I offer you this reading, Blessing for the Brokenhearted by Jan Richardson. Let us agree for now that we will not say the breaking makes us stronger, or that it is better to have this pain than to have done without the love. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound when every day our waking opens it anew. Perhaps for now it can be enough to simply marvel at the mystery of how a heart so broken can go on beating as if it were made for precisely this, as if it knows the only cure for love is more of it, as if it sees the heart's sole remedy for breaking is to love still, as if it trusts that its own persistent pulse is the rhythm of a blessing we cannot begin to fathom, but will save us nonetheless.
We will now ask our celebrants to light the candles of remembrance we have prepared for this part of our service and the words you have shared with us. As we light our candles in remembrance, we remember their names, their faces, their voices. These are the memories that forever bind us to them. Take this time to remember and feel the light of love that remains in our hearts. For it is in this light that we ask you to savor and spend some time with your loved ones. We have also included a candle for all of those lost during this time of pandemic by any means.
Stephen Roderick, March 3rd. Steve grew up in Newport, served the Actors Guild during his working life, and dearly loved his husband, Michael. He is sorely missed, especially for his wonderful Portuguese soup. Gunnar Bjornsson, March 16th. It still shocks me to the core that the world will not have Gunnar in it. I can still picture him shooting hoops for hours outside his home, could hear the basketball hitting the pavement in a rhythmic way and knew he was in his groove. He had such love and perseverance for the game at such a young age. It was a joy to see. We loved Gunnar from the moment we laid eyes on his gorgeous curly hair. He had such a sweet and gentle way about him. We will never forget. George Almy Thurston Jr., April 8th. George will forever be missed by his family, friends, and all of those who knew him, both intimately and in passing, leaving all with the indelible reminder of the amazing person he was in life. May he rest in peace and forever remain in our hearts and minds. We love and miss you. Laura Topa, April 12th. I remember the first time at 5 I flew by myself from California to Rhode Island for the summer to see you. My mom had a note of do's and don'ts that was in my purse to give you. You looked at it and said, "I know how to raise kids," and threw it in the garbage. That's my gram. Laura Malley. Casper Kip Schenk, May 5th. Kip Schenk will always be remembered as a loving and patient husband, father, grandfather, son, brother, brother-in-law, uncle, and friend. One of Kip's greatest attributes was he truly saw the best in everyone and everything. He was so thankful to have the opportunity to practice transcendental meditation and for all the wonderful people he met through the TM program. Kip's children and grandchildren were his greatest source of enjoyment and pride. He was proud to be a veteran. He loved listening to his favorite musical group, the Beatles. He leaves a part of himself behind in all of us. Angelina Slagle, May 18th. Angie's children are all so grateful for her. She was so selfless, loved everyone without judgment, helped anyone she could, and expected nothing in return. She loved unconditionally and treated all kids like they were her own. John Michael Sneezik, June 8th. John was selfless, kind, compassionate, and loving. My godfather, my uncle, the calm in the storm, and the man who has been my constant for my entire life. Thank you for making us laugh, for brightening any room you walked into, for being an amazing caretaker to our family and to others as a lifelong nurse. Most importantly, thank you for loving us so incredibly much. My heart is overwhelmed with how much you will truly be missed. Rest peacefully, my Unc. We got it from here. Lawrence Butler Jr., June 10th. My husband, Lawrence Butler, also known as Lawrence P. Butler Jr., passed away in June in Newport. He was strong, determined, independent, proud. N-O-L.
Anne Marie Hannes, June 13th, is being missed during the holidays. And we feel her absence and remember her kindness and her ability to make everyone feel special. Thomas Moore, September 27th. Tom was a wonderful young man. He was polite, caring, and always went out of his way for others. He had a huge heart. He was a great friend and will be sorely missed. Robert Yatso, October 20th. Robert was born in Newport, but moved to Virginia Beach as an infant, so he was very free with his usage of the word ma'am. He had a great sense of humor, and he loved music, having played multiple instruments in his life. His quiet kindness was a light that made you feel special when it shone upon you. He was a thoughtful, selfless man who always put others first. He is truly missed. Robert N. Crocker, November 4th. In loving memory. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear. Rest in peace, Dad. We miss you. Love always, Marguerite, Callie, Casey, Rob, Molly, Angus, Lucy, and Floricida. Mary Lou Smith, October 28th. Mary Lou was a beautiful artist and a beautiful person who will be sincerely missed. We light our last candle in honor and respect for the many thousands in our world community who have died from or during the coronavirus pandemic. May our hearts unite with the grief of their loved ones, and our spirits cry out for healing from the pain that we all share in common.
Unfortunately, there are no set rules or specific timetables for us to grieve. We are each unique in the ways we mourn our loss. As we journey through this wilderness of grief, it is often hard to find hope. There certainly is no grand epiphany that can suddenly instill us with bright, sunny hope. Our grief is too strong and too individual for that. For me, hope has come in a series of tiny minutes and then occasionally an hour, a week, a month. Slowly, so slowly, hope came alive again. It came from deep within myself and from caring communities around me. Sometimes it felt like hope could never again enter my heart, but it did, in its own time and in its own way. Even those of us who have finally found a bit of hope and who try to shine its light on the paths of others still regress and withdraw into the dark sadness of our loss. And that is as it should be. For we have each lost a precious loved one, their physical presence and their future in this life. Our loved ones live on in our hearts, mind, and body. They live within the confines of our private and some public memories, as well as in our dreams. They may not share this earthly plane with us, but our memories and dreams remain always tucked away for eternity. It is good to think of our loved ones often and to shed some tears for all that has been lost. These are not setbacks as much as sweet memories that bring cathartic tears. The element we find in these memories is closeness to our loved one's life. This is healthy. We will never forget our loved ones, and others who knew them will never forget either. The proof of this is in our memories, sweet memories that take us back to another time when our loved one was with us. So, whether you are a few weeks, a few months, a few years, or many years in your grief, reach for hope. You have not forsaken the loss of your loved one when you hope. Your hope brings them back in a positive way that can warm your heart. Reach for that hope. It is within you. Peaceful blessings to all.
Thank you for being with us this evening. It's my hope that you may be kind and forgiving with one another in the days and weeks to come. That you might remember that tears are simply memories in motion and treasure them. That you might find a way to honor the life, hear the voice, and claim the spirit of your loved one. That you may find gratitude for your loved one's life, love, and that might fill your heart. Most of all, may a beacon of hope lighten your burden tonight, tomorrow, in the seconds and minutes, days, weeks to come. Be blessed. Be a blessing.